Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Bim Trimmer.
And I'm Trim Brimmer, bringing you news on the Vietnam War.
Earlier this decade, our involvement in Vietnam escalated. In 1965, the U.S. combat units were deployed into Vietnam. 3 years later, we were heavily bombing areas around Cambodia and Laos. By 1969, 500,000 U.S. military personnel have been involved in the Vietnam War.
The war doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon, but we're going to keep bringing you news on our involvement.
Also, earlier this decade, in October of 1962, nuclear missiles were being constructed, and tensions were rising between the U.S. and Cuba. President Kennedy wanted to remove the missiles, and then he ordered a naval blockade of Cuba.
If Kennedy agrees to remove missiles from Turkey, then Khrushchev, leader of the Soviet Union, will remove the missiles from Cuba. 6 days later, Khrushchev announced that he will be removing the missiles. Very convenient.
Suddenly, a year later, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. On November 21st, 1963, President Kennedy and his wife went to Texas to build support for the Democratic Party. The next day, on November 22nd, 1963, Kennedy was in an open-top car traveling the streets of Dallas. At 12:30 p.m., 3 shots were fired from the 6th floor of a nearby building and killed him. Lee Harvey Oswald was thought to be arrested for shooting Kennedy, but he was arrested for shooting a police officer. What is that?
Spoilers. Anyways, another tragic death. Dr. Martin Luther King. He was shot on April 4th. James Earl Ray shot the massive civil rights leader. He will be missed.
On a more positive note, we just recently landed on the moon! On July 20th, 1969, NASA successfully put Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. After several orbits of the Earth and Moon, Armstrong and Aldrin descend to the moon, while Michael Collins orbits in the command module. They left behind an American flag, and then blasted off towards Earth. The crew splashed down off the coast of Hawaii on July 24th. The men had arrived home safely and met Kennedy's challenge.
Thanks, Bim.
No problem, Trim.
We'll be back after these messages.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine.
I know you're not. Your ring tells me that you're sad.
Introducing Mood Rings, the only jewelry wear that can reveal your deepest, darkest emotions to all your friends. Colors and moods range from blue, meaning sad, red, meaning happy, and many more. Your friends will no longer have to ask how you're feeling because they'll already be able to tell.
What's wrong with him? He looks so sad.
Please stop. Look at his mood ring. His mood ring says he's happy.
For only $5, you can own this priceless tool. Buy yours today. And we're back on Channel 5 News. The author of the book To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee, is here in town today.
You are an extremely handsome man, you know that, Brim?
I know. Lynn?
Thanks, Bim. I'm Lynn Spinner, here at the Book Signing of Harper Lee. Look at how crazy all her fans are. Alright, let's go see how she's doing. Wow, Harper Lee, great to see you. How have you been doing today? Great. I'm really happy with the turnout. I'm glad this many people like my book. So how did you start writing? Well, originally I was going to law school, but I shortly discovered that that wasn't my true calling, so I dropped out, I quit my job, and I devoted all my time to writing. After that, I worked with great publishers and editors to create my novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Wow, that's great. What's one of your favorite lines from the book? Well, I'd have to say my favorite line is, shoot all the blue jays you want if you can hit them, but remember it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. That sounds like a great book. For readers who are interested, where can they purchase this book? This book is actually available here along with many other local bookstores. It's such an honor to have my novels being sold alongside such great novels like Madeleine L'Engle's A Wrinkle in Time and J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Thanks for being here with us today. Back to you, Trim.
Thanks, Lynn.
Up next, one of our reporters is tracking down the legendary Walt Disney to ask about the new movie, Mary Poppins. From what I hear, she's making progress. Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim Himmer from Channel 64 News, and I'm here trying to find Walt Disney to discuss his new movie, Mary Poppins. This movie will be coming out in 1964, starring Julia Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. This movie was directed by Robert Stevenson and will be nominated for 13 Oscars. Hey, Walt!
What?
Walt, how do you feel about this movie coming out?
It's gonna win 5 Oscars!
How do you know that?
I just do! It's gonna make a lot of money!
Any movies you're looking forward to or ones that have already come out?
You know that one movie, Pink Panther, that came out in 1963, directed by Blake Edwards? Or Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, it came out in 1960?
Yeah!
I like those ones. Go bother their creators.
Okay!
So what do you want?
Back to you, Bim.
Wow, what an inspiring journey. Thank you, Kim.
Moving on. The Beatles were attacked on stage recently by a couple of rogue crowd members during their winter Helen Shapiro tour. They were performing the song Eleanor Rigby from their new album Revolver when people started throwing things at the stage and shouting mean things.
Yoink! One performer, Paul McCartney, was hit in the face with a large boot. Let's see how he's doing. Jim?
What do you want for dinner tonight?
Thanks, Bim. Jim Rimmer here with Paul, Channel 87 News. I'm here to interview him about the catastrophe that happened. How are you doing, Paul?
It was one crazy day, Jim. We were just performing our set list as usual, and there was some sort of a ruckus down in the crowd, and we were just trying to ignore it, but they were getting out of hand, and before I knew what was happening, there was a boot in my face.
Well, I hope you're feeling better, Paul.
But it's a shame that artists have to deal with this. I heard that the Rolling Stones were performing from their new album, Aftermath. I guess some people don't like the song Under My Thumb, because as soon as that song started playing, people started throwing bottles. I don't know, I like it.
Well, maybe because your music isn't very good. Back to you, Bim.
Thanks, Jim. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones aren't the only ones causing ruckus.
That's right, Trim. Bob Dylan's new songs, Masters of War and The Times They Are Changing, have the public divided. You either hate him or you love him, it seems.
Moving on to a more important story involving our very own Andy Warhol. His piece, Coca-Cola, was recently stolen. We have a reporter at the scene right now. Tim? Thanks, Trim. I'm Tim Bimmer here at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, waiting for Andy Warhol to come and talk about his stolen painting, Coca-Cola, which was made in 1962. Other famous paintings suspected to be the next victims are Dublin by Sigmund Polk, which was created in 1968, and Finnmark Winter by Anna Eva Bergman, which was created in 1966. There he comes now. Mr. Warhol, how do you feel about your painting being stolen?
Leave me alone. My art piece just got stolen.
I just want to ask you some questions.
What?
How do you feel about it being stolen?
Bad.
Have you ever had a painting stolen before?
No.
Well, you better watch out. Those 3 Marilyns of yours are a real gem. Remember the one you made in 1962? Or Green Car Crash, which was created in 1963?
Don't steal my paintings.
You got it. Back to you, Bim.
Now, for our last piece of celebrity news, Diane Arbus is still recovering from her suspicious circumstantial injuries.
She's continuing her theme of odd and bizarre photography, taking pictures of people and circus performers, when one of the tigers at the circus broke loose and attacked her. She was severely attacked and is currently at the hospital. Brim?
I'm Brim Timmer, here with Channel 76 News, here with the attacked photographer, Diane Arbus. How have you been feeling since the incident?
Not so good, Brim. I was attacked by a tiger, remember?
Yes, of course. How did it happen?
My fellow photographers, Dennis Hoffer, David Bailey, and Terrence Donovan and I went to the circus to finish up my portfolio, but then a tiger broke loose, and then the next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital.
Wow, what a crazy event to have happened. How do you think this will affect your future works?
Well, I predict in 1967, I will take a picture of a dapper young man in support of Vietnam vets, and then in 1968, I will take a picture of a family at a park with the parents looking tired. I don't know, I just think it could happen.
Wow, how interesting. I wonder how it'll happen. Only time will tell. Thanks for speaking with me.
No problem. But, are we done yet? I'm really tired, and I want you to leave me alone.
Right, back to you, Trim.
Thanks, Brim. What an amazing decade.
I'm Ben Trimmer.
And I'm Trim Bimmer.
I'm Lynn Spinner.
Jim Rimmer here.
I'm Kim Himmer.
I'm Brim Timmer.
I'm Tim Bimmer.
And we're 1-800-588-2305 Channel News. And now, to Steve with the weather.
Under my